Hello, and it's hello from my parents' place and home. I don't have my normal recording equipment, so the volume and the sound may not be quite as appropriate as or good as normal. Likewise, the picture. However, we're here for the fourth lambing learning, which is Mother Well. And this is penned and shared while Cancer and her nurturing and mothering aspects are playing in the sun for those astrologers among you. The sun should be shining. Actually, at the moment it's night, so it shouldn't. But it's been raining all day. But the sun is shining in my heart when we come to this particular episode in terms of learnings, because I was never a birth mother, and lambing presented the first real opportunity to get as close as probably I'm ever going to in my life. When you're handed a still wet with afterbirth, very poorly lamb to warm, feed with colostrum, then milk, and to know that his or her life is very largely in your hands, something speaks to you in a different place. And maybe now I understand a little more all those mothers who said to me, "You'll never really understand until you have one of your own." Of course, with lambing, there is no personal possession, but nevertheless, I feel privileged to have had as lovely an example of mothering um, as I probably can ever get. However, I don't think that mothering is only for birth mothers, because when I look back, quite recently, in fact, I've mothered and mother animals, children. I've mothered certainly some lovers and even parents on occasion. So this encounter produced actually three poeticals and a poetic prose post, which is already live. I'm only going to share one, and really it only gives you a taste, because to mother well, I realize includes almost everything. It can be marvelous, miserable, mysterious, and all kinds of other things in between. But I'm going to share with you the poetical, um, which really was the one when I witnessed um, midwifing, I guess, and a form of mothering by a shepherd for the first time. So it's called Pregnant Pause, and it casts a different light on that phrase we're so familiar with. Oh, pregnant pause in films, etc. And I'll never say or hear that phrase without being taken back to a barn in the early hours of the morning. If you want any of the links to the other poeticals, you'll find them if you press more, if you're watching on YouTube, and obviously on the blog post, there's going to be links too. So, are you sitting comfortably? We weren't. We were standing, watching. We were the two. And as we watched, there was a pregnant pause. I never knew what a pregnant pause really meant till now. Nearly 100 ewes awaiting. Pregnant pause. And one is pushing, and a life is nosing, membrane wrapped, feet tangled in the life of another. Both are held in the dark and laboured heaving, and two are watching. Pregnant pause. All you can hear is the few who couldn't wait and their tiny bleating. The two are still watching, and all is still despite the heaving, and one is still pushing. Pregnant pause. Now one is watching, the nose protruding, still wrapped, is still, too still. And one is walking, creeping, as he's watching. Long legs pause, bend and buckle to meet the ewe who's straining. The other watches, wonders if the ewe is pleading. Pregnant, pause. The other ewes are watching, watching the watching too, while hands, instinctive, reach within the dark and heaving. They feel and ease, align, adjust, and, 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 pregnant, pause. And, and, and he has a black wet lamb in his hands, whoosh, other white lambs, while the ewe waits no longer pregnant. And the one who's watching understands at 63 the meaning of the pregnant pause. Thanks so much for listening. I'd love to read your comments, and me and the Poeticals always are delighted if you decide to subscribe to the YouTube channel, or indeed if you want updates to join my occasional newsletter, and you'll find a link on my website, and there'll be a link to that if you're on YouTube right below. Look forward to sharing some of the other failures and the other aspects of lambing. And of course, there are links to all the other poeticals and the prose post below and in the blog post. Bye for now. See you next week. Thanks for listening.